Hi everyone! In this tutorial I'll show you how to make this coach inspired crochet bag using just your scrap yarn. The original bag is already sold out, but you can very easily make it yourself. I'll guide you through the whole process. Let's get started. Okay, we need a lot of scrap yarn. I have 8 skeins of yarn. You have options, of course. Here I have a fingering weight yarn, and you can use that double threaded, so just use 2 threads at once. But you can also use more of an Aran weight yarn, and then you just need 1 thread. This is what I just had left, so you can choose any color you like. I have 8 skeins, 8 different colors, and I used a hook size 4.5. That's the size 7. And I have some scissors, and you need a needle for sewing. First we're going to make a slip knot and then a chain of 46. So this is your slip knot, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 46. This is 46. Then we're going to make a single crochet in the second chain from your hook. So 1, and this is 2. So this is your first single crochet. Then we're going to make a single crochet in every remaining stitch. So we're going to make a total of 45 stitches. So make in every chain a stitch. So I will see you at the end of this row. Okay, we have our last stitch here. I made 45 stitches. I will make chain 1 and turn. So now we have row 2. Once again, we're going to make a single crochet in every stitch. So we're going to make 45 stitches across. This is for row 2. And it's very simple because we're going to repeat row 2 for another 8 times. So we will have 9 rows total. Okay, this is my 9th row, and I will be making the last 2 stitches. So there's a total of 9 rows here. Then we're going to work around the whole rectangle. That means that we'll go just around the corner here, and we'll be making stitches on the sides. Because we made 9 rows, we will be making 1 stitch per row here. I'll show you. So this is actually your first row and we're going to make 1 stitch here. So this is 1. I will put a stitch marker in my very first stitch. Then here you see is the second row, so there's my second stitch. Then here's 3, 4, 5, 6, here's 7, 8, and perfect 9 stitches on your side. Then we're going to turn again, and we're going to make on this long side we're going to make 45 stitches. So in every chain, because this is actually your foundation chain, in every chain you're going to make 1 stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I will see you over there. Here's my last chain of this long side. So I made 45 stitches. I will turn around the corner once again, and I will be making 9 stitches here. So here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now we are at the last long side, and we will make 45 stitches. We reached the last stitch. That's it. And we can fasten off now. And so we made a total of 108 stitches. We went all around. And what I'm going to do, now we're going to attach yarn at a side of your work. Doesn't really matter which stitch it is, but make sure it's the side of your work. I'm going to attach yarn with a slip stitch. And now I'm going to make my half double crochet cluster stitches, and I will be skipping 1 stitch when I make that cluster stitch. I will show you how we're going to make that stitch. First, yarn over, then put your hook in the stitch where you started, then yarn over, skip a stitch, put your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through all of the loops. That's the stitch we're going to make for the whole bag. Then chain 1, and now we're going to make a stitch in the stitch where you ended, so the same stitch. So yarn over and put your hook in the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, skip a stitch, and put your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, and go through all of the loops. Chain 1 and yarn over and put your hook here once again in the same stitch as where you ended, yarn over, skip a stitch, and put your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, and go through all of the loops. Okay, that's it. We're going to do that. We're going to do that for the whole round. We'll continue making those stitches. We are almost at the end, so we're just making the last stitches. Yarn over, put your hook in the same stitch where you ended. Here is actually the last stitch of my previous round. I have to skip this one and put my hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, and yarn over and go through all of the loops. Chain 1, then you will end, or you will have just one stitch remaining here. This stitch will remain unworked, but we're going to make one cluster stitch. So once again, you put your hook in the same stitch as you were working in, and then we're going to put our hook in your first stitch, so the stitch where you actually attached your yarn. So I put my hook in here, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through all of the loops, chain 1, and then we're going to put our hook in the first stitch, the very first stitch, and we're making a slip stitch. That's your first cluster stitch round. We're going to fasten off our work because this is a very important rule. We're going to change color after every round. We can also switch colors during a round or twice, whatever. You can switch as many times as you want during a round, but you have to switch color after every round. In this way we keep our transitions very smooth, or yeah, you can just otherwise if you switch color here you will see the difference. We're going to start with round number 2, and well, every round is the same besides your color, and what we'll do is we will attach our yarn, and you will attach your yarn in the chain space. You can do that wherever you want, but I recommend you to attach your yarn at the side of your bag. So you can attach your yarn here or here. I wouldn't recommend it to attach your yarn at the same spot. It's nice to every time attach your yarn at another place. So you can also attach your yarn at the other side of your bag. It's up to you. I will reattach or attach my yarn here. I will use yellow, light yellow. You attach your yarn with a chain 1, and then we're going to do the same actually as the previous round, but now the only difference is that you are working in the chain spaces only. So yarn over, put your hook in the same stitch here, yarn over, and then put your hook in the next chain space. So we're only working in chain spaces. You can take the loose hanging threads with you. You can work them along. So that will save you some time with weaving in ends. So I'm doing that in this way. So yarn over, and then here, this thread is here, and the thread is just on my hook, and it's not doing anything, but I'm just working it with me. So I will do that for a couple of stitches, and then it will be securely So that's how you make your rounds every time. Oops, made a little mistake. I will show you how I switch colors during a round. So you just start with your cluster stitch, and then when you have your last yarn over, you grab the new color, yarn over with that new color, and go through all of the loops. Chain 1, and then you just continue with the new color. What I'll do is also work those loose hanging thread with me. So they will be weaving in more or less already. Like here you can see that they're already weaving in. And that's it. In this case I will change color after a couple of stitches back to yellow. Then when I'll reach the other side I will switch to red again, and then yellow again, and then I'm at the end of the row, of the round. And well, I'm just going to continue with making all those rounds and changing all those colors, and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, I just finished my second round. I showed you that I switched to red here. So I started with yellow, then switched to red, then switched to yellow again, and then red, and then yellow again. And then I made a slip stitch in the first stitch of my round, and I fastened off my yellow yarn. Now I'm going to attach my yarn on the other side of the bag, because I think it's good to attach on both sides so you have a smooth transitions of your rows. You can maybe see it a little bit, the transition, but it's okay. Yeah, it's quite smooth. But I think it's better to switch sides. So that's what I'll do, and I'll attach my yarn with blue. More or less I'm looking at the Coach bag. I really like the colors, and I had a lot of scrap yarn so I could really use most of the colors, but it's up to you. Just feel free to switch colors and use any color you'd like. Okay, we made the body of the bag. So we made a total of 19 rounds. 19 rounds of cluster stitches. We began here and we ended here. So a total of 19 rounds of cluster stitches. Make sure you have 54 cluster stitches per round. 54 cluster stitches, and we also have 54 chain spaces. From now on we're going to work on the handle of the bag, and we're going to count chain spaces to position the handle. First, make sure you lay your bag flat. So this is pretty flat for me. And then we're going to count, and you will need 4 stitch markers. We're going to count from the right side of your bag, and we're going to count 9 chain spaces. So here's your first chain space. I'm going to count 9 chain spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And in the 10th chain space, we're going to place a stitch marker. So in the 10th chain space. From here we're going to count 8 chain spaces further. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now we're going to count how many chain spaces we have left here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, well, 9. You can reposition it a little bit, because we have to have 9 chain spaces here, 9 chain spaces here, and that's including the stitch markers, and 9 chain spaces here. So it means that we have to have also 9, 9, 9 on the other side of the bag. So I'm going to turn my bag. I'm going to count in the same way I said I did for the other side. So, well, I'm counting 9 stitches as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and in the 10th stitch, chain space, I'm going to place a stitch marker, and then count further. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then in the 8th chain space, I'm going to place another stitch marker. Now we're going to check if it all is good. It looks good because the stitch markers are placed symmetrically. That's good. But what we want is that we have that in between the stitch markers here and here we have 18 chain spaces. So I'm going to check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Nah, that's not really good. Well, if I look here, so what I'm going to do, sometimes a little bit, yeah. What I'll do is I will replace this stitch marker here. So place it one chain space more left, and so you need to replace this one as well. And hopefully now it all works out. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yes. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yes. So 18, 18 on this side, and we have 9 and 9 here. So check if it's symmetrically, and check the right amount of chain spaces. That's very important. Okay, I'm here at the right side of my bag, and we're going to, so, well, you have your bag here, and just position here, and I'm going to attach after the stitch marker at the right side of your bag, and from here we're going to work till here. So we're ending right before the other stitch marker. So that means that we're making 18 stitches. So I'm attaching my yarn here. And then I'm making a cluster stitch. Chain 1. And we'll be repeating that till the end. Okay, we now have 18 cluster stitches and 17 chain spaces. So you can count it from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18. What we're going to do is we're just working from the right side of your bag. So after this round, we're actually fastening off this yarn, and we're going to reattach here. So every time we're going to decrease with 2 cluster stitches simply by attaching your yarn in the first chain space. But every time we're going to start here again. So we're just fastening off at the end, and we're starting again at the beginning of your very first round, and we'll start in the first chain space, and we're going to simply end in the last chain space. We're going to do that for a total of 9 rows, decreasing for 9 rows, and in the end you will just have 2 cluster stitches remaining. I will show you how I will do that. Okay, second row of your bag handle, I'm attaching my yarn in the first chain space of the very first row of your handle. And now I'm going to make the cluster stitches again, just like we did every other rows and rounds. Okay, make sure you have 16 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we're working till the very last chain space. This is 16. So as you see, we went from 18 to 16 stitches, and we're going to fasten off this yarn again. And as I said, we're going to repeat this. Every row is a decrease of 2 cluster stitches, which means that you're going to skip a stitch at the beginning and at the end. So you're attached at the at the first chain space, and then you continue till the last chain space here, and we'll do that for 9 rows, and then you have just 2 cluster stitches left, and I will see you there. Okay, we made a total of 9 rows of decreasing, and now we're going to make normal rows and just 2 cluster stitches per row. We're going to do that a little bit differently, so I will show you how I will do that. Every time we're just working from this side to here, so we reattach every time at the beginning of your previous round, and this time we're going to attach our yarn in the very first cluster stitch, so not in a chain space, but we're going to attach our yarn in the stitch. And we're making our first stitch here, and then we're going to make make the second insert in the chain space. Then chain 1, and then once again we're inserting our hook in the same chain space, yarn over, and now we're inserting our hook in the second cluster stitch, the previous row, and yarn over and go through all of the loops. So now you made 2 cluster stitches with just 1 chain space. Then you can fasten off again, so we have a lot of weaving in to do. That's how we're going to do it. So every time just attach your yarn in the first stitch, first cluster stitch, and make this cluster stitch also in the chain space. Then make your second cluster stitch in the chain space and the second cluster stitch of the previous row. We're going to do that for a total of 19 rows, and we will have a total of 28 rows at the end for this side of your bag handle. So I'll see you in a bit. I'm done with the first side of my strap here of the bag. I made 28 rows total. I fastened off my work, and now I'm going to attach my yarn on the other side of the handles. I'm attaching yarn after the first chain space after the stitch marker. So we're not working in our stitch marker. Make sure we're always working at the right side of the bag, so we're attaching here. And we're going to do exactly the same as the other side of your handle. So we're just first making 18 stitches, and then we're going to decrease for a total of 9 rows. And then we're going to make two stitches, 2 cluster stitches per row. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. I can show you how we are starting, and that's like this. I'm done with both sides here, and I already weaved in some ends, so this will help me to work the last stitches. Please do that now, and it will help you throughout the process, because we're going to make stitches along the edge. But for now, we're first going to attach those two sides together. We're making slip stitches on both sides. So first chain 1, and then make sure your handle is not tangled or anything. And then face the wrong side. So really make sure it's not curled up or anything. And then what we're going to do is we have just, 3 stitches here, and we're going to make put our hook in the outer loop of the first side, and then again make sure you work from the wrong side, then go through the other outer loop. Oh sorry, I might have thread, it's not here. Then go through the other outer loop here, yarn over, and go through all of the loops. Okay, twice more. Outer loop here, outer loop here, yarn over, and go through all of the loops. And the last time. Okay, well, that's it actually. Really, again, check that they are not curled up, that the back is good. Yes, you see it here. It's just good as it is here. We're going to make the inside edging. So from here, we're going all the way around. I didn't fasten off, so this is still my yarn from attaching the sides. I made a chain 1 already, and make sure you work from the right side of your work, so that you, from the right side of your work, so you see that the right side of the handle is facing you. And we're just going to work from here to here. That's how we're going to work. We're just going to make single crochets, and what we'll do is we're going to make 2 single crochets per row. So this is 1, this is 2, you can just position it from here, the beginning. So you can just make a single crochet at the beginning of the row and then the end of the row. Just going all around. And when we're at the corner, we will make a decrease. I will show you that when we're there. Okay, we reached the corner. I made the last single crochets at the sides and I'm going to make a decrease here. Well, actually I'm just really working in this stitch here and then here. So that's my decrease. From here I'm going to work one single crochet in every stitch. And now I'm going to make another decrease. And then we'll go up again and here we make once again two stitches per row. We'll do that till we reach the very first stitch of your round and we will end with a slip stitch in the first stitch. As you see, you get a very nice edge. Okay, we're almost there. Just making the last two stitches. And what we'll do is make a slip stitch, that's here, in the very first stitch of the round. Then fasten off and I will show you how we are going to work the other way. We're just repeating this process, but I will show you where we will attach our yarn. You can do that at the same position practically, but as long as the right side is facing you, so the body of the bag is far away from you, and you can just attach your yarn here, attach with a slip stitch, and then make your first single crochet, and then just make a stitch or two stitches in every row. And when you finish that, your bag is actually ready.